19th annual Oscar qualifying HollyShorts Film Festival. I am one of your three hosts. We are lucky enough to have kind of the whole team here, except for Jack, who needs to stay behind it all to get it streaming. And that is Brianna Wing, Haley Royal, and myself, Indiana Underhill, who are all founders of CFA, and we have 2 actors and a DP. Sitting with me here today, in addition, I will shout out that the Apogee folks are here doing BTS, so you may see them dart in and out, which is all the more exciting thing about show business that we're doing today. Thank you for those hype mics. Sitting with me today from Mahogany Drive is Jerah Milligan.
Oh, thank you.
Did I do it
right?
right?
Yeah, you did it right.
Nice.
Usually when people get silent, that's when I know they're trying to say my name. So you were perfect with it.
Awesome.
You know what I mean?
And you're the director, actor, and co-writer of Mahogany Drive, correct?
Yes, I am.
Very cool. So there's a lot to dive into here.
It's a couple things.
Awesome.
But I have to say, your shirt is phenomenal. I just wanted to be on record that this shirt is a very classy shirt.
Nice.
My friend.
I agree. It has the knit vibe to it and all that.
Scoot in here. Show everyone
I
come on in.
I know behind the scenes gets to be on the scenes. Show that shirt, bro. That's a very nice shirt. Yeah, you thought you were going to be back behind the scenes the whole time. Not when I'm here.
Good. So, Jerah, let's talk about director, actor, co-writer. First time directing acting?
It is. I come from the sketch world. So my comedy partners and I, we came from sketch in New York, doing stuff on stage. We did a lot of stuff. We had a sketch show on Netflix. But I think sometimes comedy doesn't get the respect it deserves. So I just wanted to direct something that shows like we can do more than 4 minutes of content.
Yeah. And Mahogany Drive, I want to dive into all of the nitty gritty of it. What is it about? Let's start us off.
Our film is about 3 black guys who wake up and find that the Air-Bnb only kills white women. Very exclusively.
It kills many people, but it is only
white women. And we wanted to have a film because we feel like there was a point where myself and my friend John, who's a very tall guy, very tall, innocent-looking guy, we both lived in New York, and I was saying one of my biggest fears is if I'm walking home late at night and there's like a young, cute white girl in front of me, I have to cross the street because I don't want anybody thinking that I'm trying to like rob somebody.
Right.
Yeah.
John has very curly hair, very innocent-looking, said the same thing, and I was like, this is insane if you feel the same thing. And then we were trying to figure out what to do we were pitching a show.
Yeah.
And our friend James goes, what about we're in a hotel and there's just like a white woman on the floor? And we were like, that makes no sense. Like, wow, like that makes no sense. We really made fun of him, so I feel bad about it. And then maybe 10 minutes later, John goes, but why would the hotel have a dead white woman? Like, would it be more? Is it like for a reason? And then because of that, we started going into like, how does this make sense? Is it more about gender than race?
Right. And
kind of like wanted to make sure it was more than just surface level stuff.
Wow. So let's talk about how you worked with an incredible DP who I know very, very well because she was in my year at AFI, and that is Veronica Bauza, who has 2 other films as well here, which is great. All the success, we champion her. Can we talk about how you dealt with such themes through your visual language? What was important?
The thing that was really good is, which is crazy, downstairs before I was waiting to come up here, I ran into our producer who was a friend from acting class back in New York. She came out here to go to grad school, met Veronica last minute on a short film, and I really am big on like women and people of color, and she was like, cool, I got it. So Blaine Morse is her name. She hired Veronica, introduced me to her, and Veronica happened to live down the street. Like literally down the street.
Right.
And the beauty of her is that she is one of those cinephiles but also likes very weird things as well. So she would come over with a laptop and we would just watch YouTube.
Yeah.
Like, because my biggest worry was our script, we didn't have a lot of money and I knew we were doing it kind of in one room. So it was like, how do you make sure it's not just guys talking in a room?
Right.
So, we modeled it after like some, old Hitchcock things and like Three Stooges, because I feel like these guys are one person but not a smart person. So we try to make sure we block them always. Literally, we tried to block them always in the same frame, or you would see them kind of rotate in and out of based on who had the power. So you see 2 of us against one, or the swap, the 2 against another, and we kind of just did that constantly throughout the film.
Were these notes in the script where you were like, the blocking changes here because now you have the power, and that was for that cast to remember? Or was it more like your setup would change with blocking in order to change who had the power?
It wasn't in the script. It wasn't until Veronica and I were trying to figure out how to make it fun. Literally,
Yeah,
it was like,
right.
how do we make this fast and fun? And then once we got on set, we were able to like kind of block it out with everybody. So it was kind of always knowing what we wanted it to look like. And then John and James, I've been at both of their weddings. We've known each other for like 10 years. So I was able to, they just listen. So I think they would always ask questions. And if I was in the scene, I would have Veronica or Blaine be able to tell me if it looks good. And because I know comedy, I know if it sounds good, if that makes sense.
Wow.
What sort of conversations are you having to make sure that, yes, these themes have gravity to them and you want to make sure that comes across, but you also want to make sure it's fun because it is a comedy?
I think we always push for fun, but I think luckily on set, just a shout out to Blaine, this was not me, but all of our department heads were women. So basically the men were outnumbered. So there'd be certain jokes that like we thought were funny, and then we were very quickly told, no.
We're not doing that.
And it was one of those things where like, I think it's the beauty of being in entertainment, especially in comedy and stuff. I feel like women are more brazen, which I love. So like there'd be times on set that there's a joke at the end of the movie where we thought was hilarious. It was like an improv joke. We thought it was hilarious. Someone stops me and goes, hey, it's not funny if every woman is gay if they just don't like you. Like they just cannot like you, you know? And I'm like, but what do you mean? And she's like, no, one can be gay, but also they can just not find you attractive. And I was like, all right, yeah, that hurts. And then, you know, that changed how the movie ended. And I think you kind of have to have those checks and balances because I genuinely don't know. I think a lot of times our philosophy is it's easier to point fingers at someone else. So we try to make fun of ourselves a little bit. And the guys aren't smart in the movie. They don't become smart. They kind of double down, and it's like sad to an extent, but that's kind of the point of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we needed the people, like literally Tessa Hirsch, one of the actresses, was like, you can't, we're not doing it. And it made it better. So thank you, Tessa.
That's great.
Yeah.
As a director and writer, what was that first pre-production meeting like with your cinematographer? Did you go in with shots already in mind, or did you let your cinematographer come to the table and express their ideas? Or what was that first communication like?
Veronica is very cool. And like she has 3 films here. So I was nervous talking to Veronica. Like I've done sketch, but for me, I had ideas, but as I was saying them, I kept getting nervous that she was going to think they weren't cool enough. I was like, she's going to think this is so dumb. But the beauty of her is that there'd be ideas I had about how the shot should feel and like kind of intensity of the shot. And she's like, oh, what about this example? And we would just sit and go back and forth of like, oh, I kind of saw this in the movie. And she would show me something else. And we just did that for hours. So I had an idea, but I really leaned on her because I'm more of I needed to feel this kind of way. How do we make sure that like people feel that without music playing?
Yeah.
So my big thing was like we should be able to control people's emotions without music enhancing it. And she kind of.
And then did you guys generate that shot list together, or did she generated that shot list after you?
We did together on my couch. She wrote it up, but I don't think she trusted me to write it because I'm very like I have the ideas, but I'm very not organized. Organized chaos.
Yes.
So
Beautiful.
you know, so she had her laptop. We were going through it, and she's like, "Don't worry, I will write it," and just like took it and left. And when she came back, it was great.
That's awesome.
And did you
Alright.
shoot most of those things? Or
We shot almost everything because we only had 2 days and not a lot of time. So for the most part, people think we improvised a lot in the movie, and we didn't. It was like we set up the shot. I let everybody do it once, like in rehearsal, and then we just did it a couple times so we thought it felt funny or loose. And if Veronica said we got the shot, I would do one more, and then we just keep it moving.
Now,
it
if
was
you're
like,
acting too, are you also yelling cut when the scene is done, or would you let your first AD yell cut?
I'm usually yelling. It was a little bit back and forth. Like I would yell cut a lot. Yeah, actually, I would yell cut a lot, and then I would usually go back to Veronica and be like, how did it look? Like to me, the big thing was like, because at a certain point we were getting so behind just because of like, you know,
Always.
stuff.
Yeah.
You're just always behind. I couldn't look at everything.
Yeah.
Right.
So I was like, Veronica, if you tell me it looks good, it sounded good for our end. It felt good. And then, you know, luckily.
Seal of approval.
Yeah, I was like, you just let me know.
Yeah.
Because again, you know, when you meet somebody and they just talk to you and you're like, oh, you're so confident.
Yes.
And it's
Got it.
like, you're so confident, I'm going to just rock with this.
Yeah.
It's like, if you handle the shots and we already discussed it, I know we can handle the comedy.
Yeah.
And we already blocked it out. So I'm like, as long as it looks like what we practiced, we should be good to go.
Yeah.
So that's the
It
argument.
is really an exciting thing when you can pass off and have that trust between your collaborators, because you know you can make a stronger story because of it. And so that's so wonderful. With the audience, how many screenings have you had with an audience thus far?
Oh man, I tallied it yesterday. I didn't expect to submit to any festival.
Okay.
Like I just didn't, but we've gotten into 20, I think.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Wow.
And I think the thing that's crazy is there's 2 screenings we had. One was at Essence Fest, which was like a predominantly black audience, and one was in Stony Brook, which was a predominantly like older white audience. And at Essence Fest, it was people are talking like they're like, this is crazy, and I'm like, okay, I expect that. But when I got to Stony Brook, it was a full theater, and it was so much chaos from these older white people. It was insane. It was like, it was the first time and the only time I've ever been to a festival where I couldn't make it back to the seat because people were asking a lot of questions.
Wow.
Or like, also you realize the movie, we crap on dudes because like we're dudes, we're fine. We're fine. And then you would see a bunch of guys with their wives, and the wives are like, what would you do? Would you pass the test? Would you pass? And then one guy goes, I mean, the science was a little off. And she's like, he's mad because he wouldn't pass. Fail. And I was like, oh, that was such an interesting experience. Because it was I don't know. I just didn't expect it to have that same kind of energy.
I mean,
there.
it's so great that you can connect with so many different audiences as well, because that's the idea. It's
Yeah.
like, you know, it's like comedy can bring people together, and also your messaging behind it can bring people together in a really beautiful way when you're successful at all the other genres. So it's like, that's awesome. That's really exciting.
I just feel bad for this dude because you gotta realize he's like this older guy.
Yeah.
And like clearly his wife was hyped. Like she was energetic. Walked up to me proud. He's stumbling in the background. It was good. The sign was a little off. Fail. And that's all you heard. And then she made him walk up the steps first. She just see this clearly 70-something-year-old man, head down, just like going to timeout.
Hands in his pockets.
She got a friend with her. I'm like, y'all having the best time of y'all life right now. Like they're going to the bar, he's going home. I'm like, good for y'all. Good for this night.
Wow. And so
So much
tomorrow
fun.
it's screening at HollyShorts
Yes.
at 10 p.m. Saturday.
Yes, we are the final film of the
Wow.
festival. The final film,
festival.
which I have been freaking out.
No, you're going to go out with a bang.
Yeah, I'm like, that's what I like.
amazing.
Just come, you know, it should be fun. I like, listen, I'm gonna go to a bar or something beforehand, and then take us out into the night. You know,
amazing.
Well,
That's gonna be great.
congratulations,
Thank
Jerah.
you.
This is a really exciting thing
Thank
that
you.
I'm so stoked to hear that it's screened at over 20 festivals
Thank
and
you.
that you're like the closing night
closing
for
it.
HollyShorts.
cool. I think I feel better now
Closing night?
I
Oh, yeah, that's exciting.
because I get when they sent it, I was like, oh, so that's the order.
That's
We're
where
doing
you're putting
we're
it?
doing
Yeah.
this.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
But so I feel okay. This makes me feel better. I feel
closing
good.
the
I feel
festival.
good.
I feel more
It's
confident.
going
Great. Yes,
to
I feel way more
be
confident
great.
because of that.
You get the final applause.
Thank
You
you.
do. It's
gonna be
Honestly,
amazing.
now I'm happy I came. This makes me feel
Good.
good.
I'm
Make
glad.
sure you catch that screening if you're here at the festival.
Please.
The
Yes.
last one.
Please.
And again, if you can't catch it in person, you can catch it on bitpixtv.com.
Nailed it.
Yep.
Awesome. Thanks, Jerah. Such a pleasure.
Thank
for
you.
being here.
Catch Mahogany Drive at all of the places just listed. Thanks, everyone. Bye. Bye. This has been another episode of the Cinematography for Actors podcast. Follow us on wherever you listen to your podcast to keep up to date on new episode releases. We will be live through August 20th here at HollyShorts Film Fest. If you're here, drop in and say a little hello at the VIP lounge. We also want to thank our sponsors, Apogee, Film Tools, Roscoe, Lightstone Rentals, Canon, and First Mile Tech. As a special gift to you listeners, we've partnered with We Make Movies to get you a discount on comprehensive production insurance packages. Use code CFA23 on your intake form for 10% off your quote by visiting wemakemovies.org/insurance.
If you missed any of our live streams, you can watch all of our interviews on our YouTube channel, Cinematography for Actors. And make sure you follow us on Instagram at Cinematography for Actors. You can also catch us in a more formal setting on Monday, August 14th at Japan House for a panel discussion on the importance of bridging the gap between talent and crew. You can get 20% off.